Hi guys, how you going? Doing up a bit of a follow up video from my first one. I'm going to continue working on my ash spoon. I'm not going to do a video of me slowly carving it away, and I'm going to more kind of just talk on a few subjects, starting stuff, like stuff that's going to maybe encourage you to do something with your hands, because believe it or not, I'm not about just carving spoons. I'm about encouraging people to pursue things that not only creative and you know, perhaps with your hands, but those kind of things that you have at the back of your head and you're like, oh, one day I want to do this and learn this, but you don't. But when you do, you're like, oh man, where have I been? So without further ado, I'll show you a few things. So this little leather pouch I made a little while back. It does up. Just I made that look hard, but little pouch I made. It was actually my really early leather work, which I'm proud of, because I don't look at it and go, oh, that's shocker, but I'm quite like how it turned out. So in this little pouch, I've got a bunch of sharpening tools and my little Japanese single bevel. Technically, because I'm a welder by trade, that's half bevel, but there you go, a little Japanese knife. That's already sharp. I sharpened it the other day, but something going on over there. So with sharpening, I'll show you some basics with sharpening, because like I said in the other video, and I'll always repeat myself, just a thing I do want to say is there's all different types of people and how they learn. I'm very by feel, like super by feel. I'm like, you know, I'll often do a lot of mistakes before I get something, because I'm just doing it without the instructions. And most cases it works for me, and I feel like I'm getting to a point in life where I've got a good sense of feel for things, so I don't screw that many things up. I can tend to look like I'm a natural with going by feel, but you know, there's a lot of mistakes. I'm big on the Japanese principle of being a master, where you're a master with your mistakes. Where, if I was to generalize, probably more Western kind of mentalities, you know, don't make mistakes, perfection. Where Japanese tend to lean towards more, oh, I'm getting good because look how many mistakes I've done, and I like that, because you don't neg out when you screw up. I screw up all the time. So I'll be the first to admit that. But I learn. I say, oh, what did I do wrong there, you know? So I'll show you how I do things. Now, I know a lot of people on the internet tend to go, oh, this is how you do this, but maybe some don't. But I'll just say, hey, this works for me, might work for you. There's things I do know, but things I'm like, hey man, this is how I do it, it works. You know, like the saying goes, proof's in the pudding. Or if you're in Australia, there's a fly in the pudding or something, I don't know. But see, now I'm right-handed, so this has got double-sided bevel, this hook knife. And because I'm right-handed, I use this side of the blade. So I don't like to sharpen the other side. I'd actually prefer if it was blunt on this side, and I haven't had the guts to fully blunt it, just in case someone left-handed needs to use it one day, so I can sharpen it up. Plus I don't lean on this blade. Anyway, so I'm just going to do a bit of sharpening tutorial, see how I go. But I find, you know, it's probably like 22 degrees, I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not the analytical teacher. If you're after analytical type people, which I think are great, you know, I'm not the guy that, oh no, I do it, but I don't normally mark out all my bowl and all that, and all my spoons are the same and stuff. And I think that's cool. There's a lot of guys that do that, and I think that's awesome. I'm a bit more like, oh, look at this piece of wood. I'm going to kind of wing it and do this and this and this. And, you know, my style's very kind of flows. It just flows with what I'm feeling. I do use the graphite pencil, the pencil. When I do my swells, I'll mark it out first and then I'll cut into it. So I do use it. There's definitely a use for even me. So I'll just continue showing this sharpening. So, you know, I'm sharpening this side, and you find that angle. And I've got a Smith's. It's a round diamond sharpener. And I hope the wind's not cutting me out, but it's a round diamond sharpener. It goes into this little handle. I like to use the tapered side. So that's a diamond sharpener, what you're looking at. I like to use a lot of diamond sharpening for my workhorse stuff. And what I mean by workhorse stuff is stuff I regularly use and I need it ready, and I quickly sharpen it up or strop it and it's ready to go. So, you know, hypothetically, you sharpen it, you get that angle. So I can see that angle, I'm used to it. I see it by eye, I know what I'm doing. I'll do that for a little bit, depending how much I want to be sharpening it. Now the inside, this is just what I do, but you'll get a burr come up on the inside, and so what you want to do for that inside burr is you want to actually hold that flat. So you're very slightly favoring the edge, and you just do a couple in there. The reason why is because you'll get a burr on the inside, and that'll take away your edge. So you could go ham at this side of the bevel. You know what I mean? Just smash it. But you're gonna get, oh, you're serious. My timing. Anyway, I hope you can hear me. There's a chainsaw going on. But you get that burr come in. And so, yeah, so you want to run that, and believe it or not, I'll still run the diamond when I strop it. So, you know, you do a little bit there, just make sure there's no burr. And then what I do is I've got a strop. It's just a piece of leather with PVA glue glued on a wooden backing. That is a very simple way, very cheap way to make a strop. I use some crappy wood from something someone was throwing out, just some soft, crappy stuff, and I've glued a piece of leather, and I've got stropping compound. If you're in Australia, you've got Bunnings or your hardware. Australia tends to have a lot of supermarkets and big companies kill all the little ones off, and hence we just have, you know, it's just Coles, it's just Woolies. Anyway, that's another topic. But you get compound, and you only need the tiniest bit. I've actually got a leftover compound from I think my Morakill hook knife, what it came with, and I've got the tiniest bit of compound in this sharpening case, just to give you an idea how far it goes. Like, oh sorry, that's my hook knife. That's a strop, and look, and I'll just put a little bit of compound on it, the tiniest little bit, looks like a nugget of gold. Real gold, that is. But yeah, I'll put that on my strop every now and then. Even leather, just leather would be better than nothing as a strop, but compound, 100%, use compound. So then I'll strop this, and again, I'm good with the angle. When you strop, never curve at the end. Never ever curve at the end, because what you do is you're just going against what you're doing. You want the strop to be not only finely, you can finely sharpen, but if there's any burr, that strop should take it away. You can feel it when you sharpen a lot, when you touch the blades a lot, like me. I know that you'll be like, oh, but don't you cut yourself? The only time I really cut myself is when I get complacent, when it's like, oh, I'm talking to someone and I put my hand on something. you get used to your tools, and yes, they are dangerous. So I'm trying to show you the basics, because I said in the other video, if you can't sharpen, that's what you need to learn. Because sharpening can not only help you in the kitchen, it can help you obviously with your carving. I mean, if I'm just trying to think, you know, what else would you use? You use knives in certain trades. There's all sorts of, it's a universal tool. One thing I want to bring up is bushcraft. I'm sure there's someone that goes, technically bushcraft is rah. I'll tell you what I think bushcraft is. You've probably heard the term on the internet. I think it's one of those trendy things that I like. You know, I think sometimes people don't like to admit that they follow trends, but I think some trends are cool. I don't think all trends are just a trend and that's it. I think some trends are cool, and I know with a lot on social media, you know, bushcraft is really popular, especially when the algorithm picks up that, oh, this guy carves spoons and he likes the bush. So, you know, the algorithm picks up on things, which I guess in that regards can work to your advantage. And to me, bushcraft is anything from a lost skill or a trade, something that people don't really do anymore. You know, like spoon carving, people do it, but it's minorities. You know, you don't walk down the street, everyone knows what spoon carving is, you know, or carving. So please don't think I'm just limited to spoons. I'm more into bushcraft. I'm into learning and survival. You know, if something bad happened, you know, what would you be? What, you know, you don't hope something bad happens, and I don't sit there worrying about anything bad happening. But I like to know if something bad happened, I've got skills to offer, because I find skills are better than a lot of people when they think of prepping or survival, or even bushcraft. They think of, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to store heaps of food, and I don't actually think that's as valuable as people think. I think it's more valuable to have skills and to be able to adapt. You know, for example, I like cooking. I forgot about it, and recently I thought about it. I actually started cooking, and I'm not a bad cook with what I like to cook. I can really surprise people with what I cook. They're like, whoa, man, I haven't tasted anything like this, because I put my heart into it. I was very shivers. I was probably like even 22 when I really started cooking. I used to eat chickens when I was a kid. I lived in South America, Bolivia, and I used to eat a chicken a day. You know, it was normal. I'd get up, milk cows, do all that, harvest a chicken, eat it, prepare it, barbecue it, and go off fishing or whatever I did in the jungle. So bushcraft for me, it can be so many things. It can be, you know, you could grow up indoors. You never made a fire. Bushcraft for you could be, oh, you know, someone take me out camping, and this is my first fire, and oh, I've never seen someone light a fire. And you know, to some of us that can seem like, what, you never did a fire? Yeah, you know, that's I know there's people out there living like that, where they haven't experienced things where we have done many times, and I've made many fires, and I've definitely done ones where the, where I was being silly, but so bushcraft, you know, it can be it can be someone that's totally in the bush and look at these berries, you eat these berries and all that, and Australia's great for that, where I am. Bushcraft can mean cooking. So, you know, you do cooking, and how about methods I could cook out in the bush, and things I could prepare, and you know, and you might have it in your head, if something bad happened, I'd love to be able to gather a few potatoes and this and that, and be able to cook a stew, and everyone's fed, and And that's powerful in a bad situation. If you can cook up a meal for everyone, oh man. And I've been very hungry. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was a kid in Bolivia, we were in a jungle, massive jungle, like biggest trees I've ever seen. And me and my brother woke up very early and we were hungry, and there was like smoke moving through the jungle, and you could see all the locals and natives and stuff like sitting in the corner, and they were doing something around this. I can't remember if it was a van or a truck. And we walk up, and the Ukrainian guy we're with goes, oh, you know, there's food and like soup, and we're like, oh, you know, really excited. And we're sitting there eating this soup, and it was beautiful, man. And I'm eating some sort of meat, and it's really tasty. And then someone goes, oh, it's deer, and they pointed over to our right, and there was a native man, like just a nappy, and looking real serious but proud, and he's holding his bow. And I remember looking at the arrowheads, and I learned how to make those arrowheads. And he's standing there, and he's proud. And he got it early in the morning while it was like pitch black, man. He's running around butkus, and he's you know, oh, imagine that. And he's got this deer like in the dark, and here we are eating it, and he's, you know, he's feeling proud. And I must say that was quite a sight to see. Just like, whoa, man. Like, so yeah, bushcraft can be anything from survival. It can be just a little bit of fun. You find a lot of it on the internet, and you just go, you know what, I just want to try that. You know, we're all beginners somewhere, and I tend to always try to think like a beginner and act like a beginner, and someone that's very condescending people, and you'll find them, and I really don't want to be that person, but you know, they're all good while they're teaching you, but some people can, and I've definitely run into people like that, which is sad because they're very skilled people, but you know, they always have a better story. They're always like, oh, that's a good start, you know, and they're never just happy for you, you know, and you know, so community is powerful with bushcraft, and I would go against a lot of prepping mentalities where it's like I'm alone and I just need to, people will compromise me. No, I believe in community. I believe in you're as strong as your community. So yeah, so I've gone majorly off topic, but I just wanted to talk a bit about bushcraft, a bit about what I'm about, and it really is just a bit, and because I think we all are full of mysteries and knowledge and things. You know, you could even be married to someone your whole life and still miss things about them. That's the beauty, I think, about learning and people. So yeah, so I'll strop it. Like I said, you don't curve at the end. I'm not curving at the end. I'm not going whoop, whoop. You know, watch that curvature. Keep it straight, almost like whew. You know, if you imagine there's a ruler coming from that bevel, that paddle's working with that, or whatever you're using to strop. So I've stropped it a little bit, and like I said, right at the end, I'll do a little bit of that diamond on the other side, and that's beautiful, mate. So that's nice and sharp now. Yeah, so I hope you guys got a lot out of this video. Please reach out and stuff, and ask questions. I'm an encourager. I love questions. So if there's anything more you want to know, or yeah, thank you very much for listening.